Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to go past the surface of the sources you send us and really understand what's going on underneath.
And today, we are digging into something truly unique, the words of Agur, son of Jakeh, which you'll find is Proverbs chapter 30.
Exactly. And this isn't your typical wisdom literature. I mean, most of Proverbs is attributed to King Solomon, right? From the palace.
Right, but Agur is an outsider. His perspective is, well, it's an everyman's view. It's raw, it's introspective, and it gets right to the core of the human condition.
And the way he does it is just so memorable. He uses this literary structure, this kind of suspenseful list.
He's a master of it. It's called the numerical maxim. You've heard it, that famous 3 things, even 4, rhythm.
So it's not just for style, is it?
Oh, not at all. It's genius, really. It creates a rhythm that helps with memory, which was crucial in an oral culture. But it also builds this genuine suspense. You're leaning in, waiting for that final item, that even 4, which is always the one that drives the lesson home.
So our mission today is to follow that journey. We're going to unpack his really humble confession, that powerful prayer for balance he makes, and then get into some genuinely surprising lessons from zoology. Okay, so Agur just kicks the door in on pride right from the get-go. He starts his wisdom text by declaring he has no wisdom.
It's a huge paradox. In verses 2 and 3, he says, "Surely I am the most ignorant of men, and that he has no knowledge of the Holy One."
Let's unpack that. I mean, why would you start your wisdom collection by saying you're not wise?
Because that's the central theme. True insight for Agur is only possible when you start with radical humility. Recognizing your own limitation is the absolute first step to gaining any kind of divine or, true understanding.
It reminds me of Job, actually.
It's a very similar arc. Job has to get to the end of himself before he can really see God. Agur is starting there. He's saying, before I can say anything true, I have to admit how much I don't know.
But wait, if he tells us he's the most ignorant person around, how can we trust anything else he says? Doesn't that sort of undermine his whole project?
You'd think so, but it actually does the opposite. By admitting his own ignorance, he forces you to look at the source of true wisdom, which isn't him.
So he's pointing away from himself.
Immediately. He follows up with this barrage of rhetorical questions in verse 4. He asks, "Who has ascended to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his hands?"
He's asking an impossible quiz.
Exactly, a quiz you're designed to fail. He's just exposing this massive, uncrossable gulf between our limitations and God's majesty.
But this is where the text gets incredibly provocative, because the riddle ends with this stunning question. What is his name, and what is the name of his son? Surely you know.
That line is just staggering for an ancient text. He is hinting, maybe even prophesying, that this incomprehensible God actually has a son.
And later texts pick up on this, right?
They do. Our sources show that New Testament writers, especially in John and Ephesians, directly answer Agur's riddle. They identify Christ as the one who descended and ascended, the one who finally bridges that very gulf Agur was talking about. It's an amazing narrative arc.
So after establishing God's vastness and our smallness, Agur shifts. He moves to the certainty of the revelation we do have. Verse 5 is so powerful. Every word of God is flawless.
And that word flawless in Hebrew is saruf. It's a great word. It doesn't just mean perfect, it means refined or tested, like gold that's been through the fire.
So it's not just true, it's been proven true.
Precisely. It's dependable. And because of that, God is a shield to those who take refuge in that word.
Which comes with this really intense warning in the next verse, verse 6. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and prove you a liar. That feels very relevant.
It's incredibly relevant. Historically, this command was taken so seriously. It's why early scribes had such meticulous, almost obsessive copying rules. They saw the text as pure gold, and any human addition was seen as a contaminant.
You can't just edit it to fit your own narrative.
You're forbidden from it. And that commitment to integrity leads us right into Agur's famous twofold prayer. It's found in verses 7 through 9.
Okay, so if the divine word is pure, this prayer is about how to live a pure life.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a masterclass in spiritual and moral balance. And he asks for help in 2 key areas.
The first is about how we talk, how we communicate. Keep falsehood and deceitful words far from me.
Right, which connects to everything from honest speech to fair business. Think honest weights and measures. It's a prayer for public integrity.
But it's the second part that just lands so heavily today. He prays, "Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the bread that is my portion." He's actively praying not to be rich.
He's praying for just enough. The Hebrew word for portion there is chak, which means an allotted, measured share. It's a prayer that forces dependence.
So why are both extremes, wealth and poverty, so dangerous for him?
He explains it perfectly. If he gets too wealthy, he might become proud and self-sufficient. He'll say, "Who is the Lord?" and forget his need for God.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if he becomes desperately poor, he might be driven to steal. And by stealing, he would profane God's name. So for him, the spiritual sweet spot is that daily, sufficient portion. It's the Old Testament version of, "Give us this day our daily bread."
From there, Agur pulls the camera back. He goes from this really personal prayer to some sharp social observation. He starts identifying whole generations that are signs of societal decay.
Yes, in verses 11 to 14, he's basically giving a roadmap for how a society corrodes. And it starts, for him, with the family.
The first group he calls out are those who curse their fathers and don't bless their mothers.
Right. If the foundational unit of the family breaks down, the whole structure is in trouble. Then he moves to the self-righteous.
The ones who are pure in their own eyes, but are actually, still dirty.
Exactly. They have the appearance of cleanliness, but are corrupt inside. After them come the haughty, the arrogant, and then finally, the oppressors. A generation whose teeth are swords, just devouring the poor.
And the punishment he describes for disrespecting parents is, it's pretty brutal. The eye being plucked out by ravens.
It is, but it shows how seriously that foundational honor was taken. Disrespect wasn't just bad manners. It was a threat to the entire social fabric.
This lack of integrity naturally leads him to this idea of insatiable desire. I love this image. The leech has two daughters. Give and give.
It's perfect, isn't it? It just captures that endless, nagging craving for more. More money, more status, more whatever. Give, give.
And then he uses his 3, even 4 formula again. 4 things that never say enough.
Yes. Sheol, or death, which is never full. The barren womb, parched earth that's never satisfied with water, and fire, which always wants more fuel. They're all images of an unfillable void.
Which seems connected to the next section, the 4 upheavals that shake the earth.
They're deeply connected. These are social shocks, not natural disasters. There are moments when the social order gets turned completely upside down. The first one is a servant who becomes king.
Yeah, I would have thought that was a good thing, a real rags to riches story.
You'd think so, but in that context, it implied someone ill-prepared, seizing power, without the wisdom or authority to rule. Think of an unqualified person suddenly running everything. It creates massive instability.
Okay, so what are the others?
A fool who is filled with food. So someone who gets wealth without wisdom, an unloved woman who gets married, and a maidservant who supplants her mistress.
So these are all situations that would create huge social tension and jealousy.
Exactly. The whole community trembles because the expected, stable order of things has been violated.
But Agur isn't just a social critic, he's also this incredible observer of the natural world. This next part is where we get his aha moments from zoology.
He starts with the 4 mysteries in motion, 4 things that are just too wonderful for him to understand.
Right. The way of an eagle in the sky, a snake on a rock, a ship on the sea.
And the way of a man with a maiden. The key to all of them is that they have these perfect, beautiful movements that leave no trace. They're untraceable mysteries.
I love that. The idea that some things are profound because you can't pin them down. But then he gives us the really practical wisdom from the smallest animals. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are exceedingly wise.
And each one teaches a crucial lesson. First, the ants. Tiny, not very strong, but they teach diligence. They prepare for the future by storing food in the summer.
Then the rock badgers or hyraxes.
Yeah.
Little power.
But they're smart enough to make their homes in the rocks. They teach us to find our safety, our refuge, in what is solid and dependable, especially when we ourselves are weak.
And the locusts. They have no king.
No leader at all, yet they advance in perfect formation. It's a stunning example of cooperative power, solidarity. They achieve incredible things by working together.
Okay, and the last one is my favorite, the lizard, or the gecko. You can catch it in your hand.
And yet it finds its way into the palaces of kings.
Which is a lesson in boldness, right? In access. It shows that even if you're small and seem insignificant, you can still get to the most important places through cleverness and persistence.
It's a great image. And he caps it all off with the 4 stately strides. The lion, the rooster, the goat, and a king with his army. They all display this kind of composed, confident leadership.
Agur brings this whole amazing chapter full circle with one final, incredibly practical warning about pride and anger.
He does. In verses 32 and 33, he says, if you have foolishly exalted yourself or have been plotting evil, the best thing to do is to put your hand over your mouth.
Just, Be quiet.
Silence yourself.
Yeah.
Stop the foolishness before it leads to conflict. He knows pride is the starting point for so much strife.
And the analogies he uses are so tangible. Churning milk makes butter, twisting a nose makes it bleed.
So the stirring of anger brings forth strife. He's saying conflict is not an accident. It's a direct result of agitation. If you churn anger, you will get strife. It's a law of nature.
It's cause and effect, simple as that.
And it links right back to his very first point. If you don't start with humility, you're going to end up with a bloody nose, literally or figuratively.
So after this whole deep dive, what's the big takeaway for us? We've seen this profound need for humility, the power of an unaltered word, and all this wisdom from contentment and just watching the world carefully.
I think the core of it all is in that twofold prayer, that plea for the bread that is my portion for just enough. It demands that you depend on God and that you actively reject the extremes of wealth and poverty.
Which is so countercultural for us.
Completely. We live in a world where personal ambition is almost always defined by getting more, by excess. So I think the provocative thought to leave you with is this. How might adopting Agur's focus on balance, on integrity, on seeking just your allotted portion, how might that fundamentally change the way you define your own success and your own ambition?
That's a huge question, and while you're thinking about that, maybe also think about those small, wise creatures. Which one speaks to you right now? Do you need the ant's diligence, the rock badger's refuge, the locust's solidarity, or the lizard's quiet boldness? That's your homework. Thanks for diving deep with us.